do you suppose the chances are that this one is going to happen again?
Never, yeah.
I think this is a pretty historic moment here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's enjoy it. And I don't know if it can get any better than this. Robby Vee and the Original Shadows.
Thank you very much. Teenagers, you all look like teenagers. It's really great to be here. And late, isn't it? You are the rock and roll survivors. Amos Highlander, Soma Records, you rock! Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do some shadow songs for you. Say hello to Dick Dunkirk. He's a shadow, original. Ken Harvey on the guitar. Lives in Nashville now. And Dick lives in Fargo! Yes!
Sorry. Very sorry, very sorry, very sorry.
And back on drums, Bob Korum. And my brother Bill and I started the Shadows along with these guys back in 1959. And my son, Robby, is filling in for Bill. Bill passed away in 1997. But I know he is here in spirit for this great rock and roll event. So this is for Bill. This is a song that we, Susie Baby was recorded in June 1959, and had a lot of people to thank. Charlie Boone was a disc jockey up in Fargo at that time with KFGO, and he did a lot to break the record. Lindy Shannon in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Some of you rockers remember Lindy. He was always quick to play some of the local records. Not all the radio stations were, but he was a champion. And this next song was also recorded around the same time, and it was one of the songs that, when we signed with Liberty Records, that they were interested in, that they never put out. But a song that I wrote about the same time period is called "Love Must Have Passed Me By." Thank you very much. Very kind. Thank you so much. I'm going to do we're going to, mainly all of the songs that you're going to hear, or most of them anyway, are songs that are recorded with the Shadows, except for this next one, which was a hit for me in the late 60s. It just seemed like an appropriate song to do. It was a gold record, a song called "Come Back When You Grow Up." And I did, and you did, and we all did.
We never did grow up.
So, this will be your part.
Come back when you grow up, girl. You're still living in a big love world. And that's what she said. So come back, baby, when you grow up. You feel good like a woman now. Nobody has got the message of now. So can't take it when the road gets rough. Come back, baby, when you grow up. I want you to rise and rest my mind. I'd rather get a little first stop somewhere else along the line. Come back when you grow up, girl. Still got a lot of time left to love. So baby, I'm ready to love. Come back, baby, when you grow up. Come back when you grow up, girl. Still
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. Bouncy, 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 bouncy. That'll be your part. Growing up in the upper Midwest, I came to rock and roll through country music. It wasn't like that everywhere in the country. Some of them came through rhythm and blues. I came through Hank Williams and Hank Snow and Hank Thompson, and a lot of the country music that I heard up in the Fargo-Moorhead area. And all of a sudden, I started hearing Elvis on the radio, and That's All Right, Mama, Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and Carl Perkins. All the old great rockers. Buddy Knox and the Rhythm Orchids, the first rocker that ever really came through the Midwest. And I was always aware of the sounds. I loved the sounds that I heard. It wasn't always a drum, or it might have been a chair or something that they were hitting with a stick. Or in the Buddy Holly records of Every Day, it was slapping the knees. And I was always curious about that. And after Susie Baby, we got a chance to go down and record in Clovis, New Mexico, where Holly cut all of his great records at the Norman Petty studio. It was just an unbelievable thrill for me because I was such a huge Buddy Holly fan. And we drove straight from Fargo all the way down to Clovis. We got in about 7 o'clock at night, and by about 8 o'clock we were set up, starting to record, do some old rock and roll tunes. And Korum broke his snare drum about 15 minutes into the session and didn't have another one. And Norman Petty was kind. You could see we were nervous as a bunch of cats. And he said, hang on a second. He said, I got a cardboard box. That sounds great. And so I'm going to do a couple of tunes that we recorded on the old cardboard box. Yeah, right. Good looking drum stand too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna need more than that.
Bring it up.
Can you turn that up on the monitor up here? Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. Can you hear it out front?
Yeah.
It just sounds like a bunch of ants tap dancing. Can you hear
We
it?
like it. We like it.
I can't hear it. Turn it up in the mains, wherever the mains are. Can you bring that mic up?
There we go.
You got it? Okay. Can you hear anything? Rock and roll! A little louder. Okay, give him a little shot, Carm.
All right.
Got it? Can you hear that?
Awesome. That was awesome.
The song that I actually recorded, I didn't do that one. The song that I actually recorded was still one of my favorite old rockabilly songs. It's a swing dance tune. And for you rock and roll dancers, this is for you.
Bounce it, bounce it, bounce it.
Well, fingers to my head. girls are nuts about me.
Yeah. Help it. They call you Grandpa.
Ken Harvey was in the band for how many years? 4 or 5 years? Played with the Furies, the Midnighters, all the bands, all the Fargo bands. And eventually went down to Nashville and signed on with Dottie West, toured with Kenny Rogers, picking in the grill. I'll tell you our Fargo story. A garage band with no name, huge rock and roll fans for those of you, and a lot of you here grew up in the time period. The early days of rock and roll, and it was so exciting. The Winter Dance Party Tour coming through the Fargo-Moorhead area. I had a ticket for the show, and came home from school one day and heard Charlie Boone talking about this terrible tragedy that had happened, the loss of Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper, and young Roger Peterson, the pilot. And rather than canceling the show, they had made a decision to go on with the show and ask for some local bands to help fill in. Bob Becker and Poor Boys and myself and this nameless band went out and bought some matching shirts and showed up and called ourselves The Shadows. And it's a night that I will never forget. It changed my life. It was a life-altering experience for me. And through all of everything that I've done, I'm still a huge Buddy Holly fan. And did the very first tribute album to him. And I'd like to pay tribute to him right now.
Away. say goodbye, and that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're leaving, know that my God's right on cue, yes! Thank you! There you go, it's getting late. It's getting late. Rock and roll! We're getting together, let's go! That's wow, see, that's all we ever needed was a backbeat. That's all we had, the stool we need, right here. Here, that's it. All the cheerleaders are here. Words, we're singing words. No more na 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 na. Picture this. 1957. Chevy. Chopping channel. Mood hood. Glass packs. Mood hubcaps. White side dingle balls. Wasn't it fun? You can get all that stuff on eBay. You can buy all of them on eBay except for dingle balls. They don't show up. You can't get them anywhere. My favorite part of the 50s, 57 Chevy. Picture of the net footage cello in my pocket. Go around the floor. See how much noise you can make. Look good. Hands together. Hands together. We're the big people now. We can make as much noise as we want. Thank you very much. Any requests? Anything special?
Bouncy, bouncy! Bouncy, bouncy! Bouncy, bouncy! Bouncy, bouncy!
Take good care of my baby.
Take good
I
care!
have run out of beach balls.
Take good care!
No beach balls.
Take good care!
Bouncy, bouncy.
Bouncy, bouncy! Take good care! Take good care, my baby! That's when he kissed me. He was after take good care of me.
Carol's coming up first.
In 1965, Robby Vee kissed me right here after he said, take good care of your baby. Today, 40 years later, he kissed me right there because I asked him to.
Let me do, this is one of my favorite songs of all the tunes that I did. It's one of the oldest. Used to close all of my shows with this when we were starting out. A song called Devil or Angel. That would pass back to the old doo-wop days of the 50s.
Hollyhock Ballroom, Hatfield.
Yeah.
Oh, rocks!
Yes.
Hollyhock Ballroom rocks!
Harry Rock.
2, 3, 4. Devil or angel, I can't make up my mind. I'd like to live inside. Devil or angel, I miss you, I miss you. I make it miss you. Devil or angel, say goodbye. love you.
Thank you so much. Okay. How you doing, Bob? Just had an operation about a week ago on his back. He's got a huge scar back there. You all right? Okay. Just to be safe. Okay. Taking care of my baby?
Please.
My tears are falling, 'cause you take her away. And though it really hurts me so, there's something that I've gotta say. Take good care of my baby. Please don't ever make her just tell her that you love her.
I'm going to present some awards here to the Shadows. I'd like to do one good old rock and roll tune that we used to do when we were first starting out. This is still one of my favorites. Call my baby Patty. But her real name is Linda Lou.
Oh my God.
because I think you did do. I really left you last night.
Let's get a couple guys out here to present to the Shadows tonight that know all about the Shadows. And one of the fellows, is it fair to say, Bob, that there were 3 bands in Fargo? I mean, there were a lot of good bands in Fargo, but there were 3 bands.
We had Hoopy John, too. Lem Hawkins.
Yes!
And at one time, in the early 60s, there was the Furies, there was of course the Shadows and the Poor Boys, and there admittedly were others. But one of the people here tonight from Costa Rica was, well actually you started the Furies, didn't you?
I was with the Furies at one time, right? Yeah.
I always blamed Roe, but it was you who started the Furies.
All my fault.
So, from the Furies, from Costa Rica here tonight, Steve Rowe, and in addition to Steve, was that some applause for Steve? I thought that was. But along with Steve, one of the great promoters of all time that was involved in everything that ever happened in North Dakota and South Dakota for that matter, and in Minnesota.
There you go.
Artie Knudsen, come on out, Artie. Represent Knudsen.
Thank you, Doug. Step over, Artie. Come. There you go.
We are some of the happiest and proudest people in the world tonight. We're the Fargo contingency, and we're here to welcome Robby Vee. Can we hear it? There's no law that says you can't stand up for this, folks, because these people have been with us for 40 years. So come on, get up. Come on, get up. The Flames. Come on. I've also been in this business for Robby Vee in the Shadows, Bob. Guys, I went to school with all these guys. And you folks have just been absolutely fantastic ambassadors for the rock and roll industry. You're absolute standouts. Can't say anything more. And all I can say is God bless all of you, man. It's just good to see you, Ken, Bob, Dick. I mean, the whole gang here. And like I said, it just went by way too fast. That did. But listen, Steve's got something for you, Bob. And congratulations.
Bobby, it's our honor, our pleasure and honor to welcome you and your band, The Shadows, to the Minnesota Rock Country Hall of Fame. You may want to give them a brief introduction while we get over your hair.
I will. It's getting late, and you folks have been wonderful. Thanks for sticking around. This is, here, Bob, you want to hold on to that? Steve Rowe had the Furies, and I remember playing at the Crystal Ballroom in Fargo a week after they had played there. And Doc Shen had this fellow, George, that used to live there at the ballroom and keep it clean and stuff, and the poor guy died. And he blamed it on the Furies because they were so loud. My brother Bill is not here, and Robby playing the part tonight.
All right, Robby.
Robby Vee, lead guitar. Bob Korum, there you go. And Ken Harvey, hang on just a second. The first time I met him, I was about 14 years old. I had worked the summer at the fair in Fargo, the state fair, and a guy came up to me one night and he said, Ken Harvey? We looked a lot alike. I had a lot more hair in those days. And we apparently looked alike to him because up to me, he said, Ken Harvey, you made a pass at my girl? I'm going to kick your ass.
He still hasn't got me yet.
Yeah, and I thought, who is this Ken Harvey guy? And I snuck out the back door that night, but I thought, who is this guy? And I met him about 6 months later. There he is. He's
May I say, we were rocking in the 60s, and we're still rocking in the 60s.
We are indeed. I'm in 62. It's a real pleasure to present this to Ken. He's a fabulous guitar player and singer and musician. And you bet. And Dick Dunkirk, I have a couple of awards here to give you today. Dick Dunkirk was a charter member of the Shadows, and his brother later joined Ward Dunkirk. And for you Minneapolis people, I know that you've been entertained by Ward Dunkirk over the years. He was a fabulous keyboard player, very talented, great singer. There you go, thank you. And as Dick is, so it's really a pleasure to be able to give you this, Dick. And another musician that we didn't want to miss out on, he played only on Susie Baby, but he was a big part of the roots of rock and roll in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and that was Jim Stillman, and we'll pass this on to his family. And there's one for me, thank you. And when we started out, we didn't have a piano player. And when I was asked to make this presentation to the Shadows, I just felt great. We're a Fargo-Moorhead band, and these guys we're still, Moby plays all the time, and Ken plays a lot. And Korum plays whatever I call him.
Yeah, there you go. I'm doing the tour on Christmas.
Every Christmas, he played Santa Claus, as a matter of fact, for me on my Christmas tree. Yeah, played the guy word back. But the first piano player that we actually hired was Bob Zimmerman from, and so it's an honor for me to present this to Robert Zimmerman, Bobby Zimmerman, and we will get this in the mail to him somehow.
Robby Vee in the Shadows.
Artie, thank you so much. I have something else that I wanted to do here, and I was talking to...
I think we know what we're going to do.
Well, with Sherwin Linton.
Yes, absolutely.
I wanted to invite Sherwin out because he was telling me a story about Doug.
Listen, hey, you know what? As a promoter, a lot of people don't realize how much goes on
Behind the scenes.
And we are going to be talking about somebody here shortly.
I'm going to let Sherwin tell the story, but it's about Doug Spartz and his tennis shoes and his ragged attire.
Sherwin?
Have at it. All right. Let's see.
I've got this in one hand and this here, and let's see. Why don't you go? All right. This is something that I have not seen yet, but it's some artwork from Johnny Boyd, and I guess you'd have to see. Johnny Boyd will be performing on a fiddle with us here momentarily, a little bit later on. But anyway, last year at this event, he put this sketch together of Doug Spartz and all the things that he's involved in. Doug is a man who works with a labor of love for this event. And I've known him for a long, long time, since back in the 60s. There was a Jim Stillman connection, in fact. Well, but we won't get into all of that right now. But it was quite a long story.
Money involved.
Yes. Anyway, I've known Doug a long, long time, and he's had a wonderful band. He's worked really hard. Several years ago, he came up with the idea of putting together the Rock Country Music Hall of Fame show. And he's worked at it and built it, and all of you are here. Tomorrow, there'll probably be 1,000 people here when we induct a whole lot more people. Last year, I had the honor of being among the first people inducted, but this is some artwork that Johnny Boyd did of Doug working at this event last year. And the humorous thing about it was that he was running around on a t-shirt and shoes that were not laced because he's so darn busy that he didn't have time to get himself spiffed up. And after the show last year, he said, "How'd everything go? Was it all real good?" And I said, "Yeah, Doug, it was very good. Everything went off fine. The timing, every bit of the shows, they all came off just the way they're supposed to. But I could make one comment." He said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, when people get an award and you come out and present them an award and people are taking pictures of it, they really want to show this to people and show that it's got some integrity. And when the guy that's presenting them the award looks like he just is a kind of a wino walked off the street, they kind of can't really show that to their friends with as much pride." And Doug says, "You really think so?" I said, "I think you ought to wear a tuxedo next year, or at least you ought to dress up just a little bit." And he called me a couple days ago. He says, "I just can't do it. I just can't do it." His wife talked to me a couple hours later, and she said, "He's gonna do it." So this is a picture of him last year, and he's really spiffed up this year. He says, "How do I look?" I said, "You are the epitome of sartorial splendor."
Bring him out.
Doug Spartz.
Look at this
He
guy.
works as hard as he does. Bobby's got something here.
That, you're going to have fun with that. I mean, this was a wonderful artist rendering of you in your early days last year. And this is the other part of the reason that we have brought you up here, because I'll tell you something. Doug, the man has got a heart of gold, and his belief is that every musician in Minnesota should be saluted and honored, and it's mine as well. I don't care if you only played the band for 2 weeks. I think everybody should get a certificate. All the joy that we have had and shared together growing up in the Midwest with this wonderful ballroom system that we had. Unfortunately, it's kind of going away. But that's where we grew up, and it was a lot of fun for everybody, and everybody should be saluted. And I'm so honored to be here with my original band, The Shadows, and you guys are in for a great weekend, seeing some old friends and some great old music. And Doug had nothing to do with this, believe that he belongs in his own Hall of Fame. And this is from the heart. He has put so much work into this. I can tell you because I know this is not a money-making deal. I hope it will be one day. And we've got some loyal people here. Doug?
Woo!
Anyway, thank you. Thanks very much tonight. We had a wonderful time, and we're proud to be here.
There's the money shot.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it very much.
We're gonna do one more.
Doug Spartz, give it up.
One more rocker for you.
As you well know, tomorrow is going to be a huge day, so enjoy the rest of the evening.
Sounds good.
Doug says thank you very much, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you.